Hey, welcome back everybody, and today we're going to be installing the windage tray, the oil pump and pickup, as well as the pickup support bracket. So I wanted to show you everything that we picked up to finish this job. We got some bolts to bolt the oil pump down. They are, get focus there, M10 by 1.5 by 40 millimeter. A 2-pack of those. We got a couple bolts to attach the windage tray. Those are, hopefully that focuses, can't see real good back there. Okay, M10 by 1.5 by 25 millimeter. That's these little guys. There we go. We also got a couple that are M8 by 1.25 by 20. And that's these little guys here. They have like a little flange head on them, which I like. I was trying to get flanged head on the other ones, but couldn't find them. They didn't have them, so picked up some M10 washers we're going to use underneath it, just to make sure we spread the load out properly. So here's our modified pump and pickup. We have to cut the top off here, right there, and you've seen the episode with our modified pickup. And everything else looks pretty good. The only thing you have to worry about is right, like on this side it was okay. It was okay. On this side here, there's a little, because this is a rough cast, you can see this little parting line right here, which raised up a little bit. There's a little bit of aluminum right there, so that bolt would not have been able to be tightened down all the way. So I just took the drill with a carbide bit and just knock that little nodule off of there. And you notice we have little hole here for a pin to positively locate the pump. So we got a pin on this side and a pin on this side, and I'm going to show you a way to do this without the use of those pins to locate the pump. The reason why we want to do that, reason why you'd want to use the pins is because it helps locate the pump fore and aft and this way, ladder, or I guess in yaw. So we're going to show you a method where you don't have to drill this in the block and to line that up. So without further ado, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is put our pump on. I'm sorry, not the first thing. First thing we're going to do is put the windage tray on. So I want to show you the modifications that I did to the windage tray and the pump pickup, I guess. So, or the pickup support bracket. So on this side here, you can see this side would be the side where you would have the dipstick tube coming in normally. We can leave this side alone, except for we opened up and just slightly widened the slots for the bolts. This side here, we didn't have to widen them, but we did have to open them up. And this side here, widened that and opened it up. And this one here, widened it slightly and opened it up. And then there's like these little beads on this, okay? And there's a bead that comes down and goes across here. Here, we use that as a reference line and just cut this straight off like that. So it'll fit on the motor. Let's get started. Now we have our M8 bolts up here. Our M10 bolts are going to be back here. These are the short ones. And then the long ones, of course, will hold our oil pump on. There's a hole here. Like we had to plug this. This is an oil feed line for the balance shaft assembly. We tap and plug that, and what do you call it? This bolt hole here. This is nothing more than just to hold the balance shaft assembly down. So we also have these holes here. These are just to hold the balance shaft assembly down. Now this hole over here that we plugged, this leads up to the oil filter. This would also, there'd be a large bolt in there. So, and we drilled and tapped an oil feed line here. So one of these is the feed, one of these is the return. I believe this is the feed line and this is the return line on the oil pressure system for the balance shafts. So we're going to reuse a couple of these holes. We had to drill a couple holes up here. All right. Set that little guy in place like so. And because we're not using factory hardware. The factory hardware, you never have to use any Loctite on them or anything, but because we're not using the factory hardware, I just feel better about putting a little bit of Loctite on them. It doesn't take very much of this stuff. I mean, just very, very little. This is the pasty stuff. I like that. Get those 2 bolts in there. And then whenever I'm done, I'll give you an overview of what this looks like. We'll take the camera, we'll pan around here, let you see what it looks like here. So after we get these 2 bolts started, get this turned down in. And you can see how nice everything goes together, just nice and smooth. You want to be able to move that around just a little bit. Since all this stuff's been modified, it may not fit exactly perfect. So we may have to shift it a little bit here and there. Put a little drop stuff on there. I'm going to put a 10mm washer on that one. And we can get that started actually. That washer is nice too because we did have to elongate those slots, so there's a limited amount on the on this flange here where the bolt goes to hold the windage tray down. Actually, we can't do that yet. Trying to be real smooth and everything so that you don't end up with a 20 or 30-minute video to watch. And here I'm going backwards. Alright, so then we need our bracket. I'm going to show you the bracket. We had modified the bracket. Basically, we just cut it in half and stack it up on the motor. We mock it up and bolt this half to the pickup, and then pinch it with a couple pair of vice grips, and then weld it up. You can see we got it welded across that way, across that way. I'm going to start here. Put that bracket on there. There we go. And then the other side, which we still have Loctite on. So we want to get all this stuff started. And the most important thing is the pump. So this stuff can move around a little bit. That's okay, you know, during assembly. But we want to set the pump and then you know, get that tightened down, and then we'll tighten all these bolts here. So let's get our washers on our longer bolts here. 1 and 2. Again, just a tiny little bit of Loctite. You don't have to go crazy with this stuff. It'll probably be okay, but we don't want any surprises. I've actually put these together without the Loctite, and it's been fine, but we do want to make sure we're doing everything right. And I want to make sure that we put a little assembly lube here. And it's cold out today, you can tell by my coat. I'm going to put some assembly lube on the crank gear. Drip that on there. You can't really put too much of this stuff on. There we go. We'll strip that around. It'll be fine. And it is sticky too. Yeah. Alright. The crank gear is metal. These are like a fiber gear. I've never really known these to wear out. The pumps have gone bad, but this gear, I've never seen them wear out. Even on some of these motors that were really raced hard. Line that up. And I don't want to tighten the pump down all the way because I come up with a system, and I was trying to figure out a system on how to get this where the pump wasn't going to rock back and forth like this, or forward and aft that way. And in order to get it set up on the gears just perfect. And whenever you assemble these, you always assemble it dry first, and then we check the lash in the gears. You know, I just get in there with your finger or with a screwdriver. You can just kind of move the gear and the pump back and forth a little bit, just to make sure there's a little bit of play in there. There's a spec for it, but I've never seen any time wherever you would even need these shims. They send you these shims with the pump in case you need to shim it to adjust the depth on your gear. I've never had to use those with all these motors I've put together. So I keep them, you know, just in case, but I've never used them. So we're set there. All right. Now we're going to use our piece of 3/4 inch oak. I guess you could use pine or poplar or anything you want. Today we're using oak, and I'll show you this later. But on the flange here with the rear main seal, that's on already, and we use this on the back of the pump housing. And again, I'll show you this. I'll bring the camera and show you, and set them on the back of the pump housing, and this will be even with the back of this little carrier for the rear main seal. All right, so and I'll show you that with the camera, but we are on perfectly. Now we're going to snug it up. Snug that up. Double check it. And that is on the money. Let's see, just want to make sure. Yep, that's right on the money. Okay, and I'll show you a close-up of that later. All right, now we're going to torque this to 52 foot-pounds. I already have the torque wrench all set up. And we're going to come up on that a little bit on each side here. Feel that tightening up. There we go. There we go. Okay. The other ones we're not going to torque because, well, we don't really have to. We just got to make sure they're tight. Okay. Next. Oop, wrong size there. What size we got there? Oh, we need the 18. So we're going to tighten these down a little bit. Again, we're going to leave this just a little bit loose, because this little bolt here has to go in, and I tightened it up a little bit too much. Back off a little bit. I want this to be able to move around because we have to be able to get this bolt in to tighten up the pickup and the pickup support back. And I'm going to use, since I have this already set, I can actually go ahead and tighten this one down. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm still nervous doing these videos. I start talking and forget that this is the oil pump pickup support bracket, and this is the oil pump pickup, and forget my words sometimes. Tighten that one down. That's good. Tighten this one down. That's plenty good. And then we're going to go up front and get these last ones here. And again, I put Loctite on these. You don't have to, but better safe than sorry. And after I'm done here, like I said, I will grab the camera. We'll give you a quick overview. So, I'll show you what's going on here. I'll grab this. You're gonna get shaky here. All right. So here's what we got. We got the M8 bolts with the flanged head here. If I couldn't get the flanged head, I would just put a washer underneath those. That's fine. And you can see there's a little bit of room here for the oil to drain back to the pan from the side of the block. We have our slots there, factory, for the other oil drain back. Bigger bolts, and you can see why we had this. We had to open up the bolt opening there, and of course we used a washer on those, which is good. Get this tightened down, nice and solid. And then we got the pump assembly. You can see where we modified it here. And we might have to knock this down a little bit. I don't think we will, but if we do, we'll just take a small ball peen hammer, just kind of roll this over just a little bit. That won't hurt that. I've had to do that one other time. And then, of course, we got the back of the pump modified here. Now, this plate here is flat, all right? And this surface right here, this edge right there, that's straight across the back of the motor. So, and what I was going to do is I was going to make a block that would set on there, and I have a surface planer, and I would just machine it down a little bit at a time until I got it where it was actually perfect, and then go ahead and use that as an assembly guide. But it turned out that this 3/4 inch material, you go like that and press it up against. Whoop, stay in there, stay in there. Press it up against. It is right even with that little flange that holds the rear main seal. It's perfectly even. So kind of got lucky that I didn't have to mess with that. But yeah, that's my setup block. Very simple, very simple. So hope you're enjoying the build. After this, we're gonna put the cams on it, and after the cams go on it, we have to do the timing chain housing and timing chain, and after that we get this sealed up, get to put the oil pan on it. So next time you see this, it's going to be right side up, and we're going to be installing the cams. Hope you tune in for that. Wanted to mention that only about 15% of the people who watch these are actually subscribed to the channel, which means like 85% are not subscribed. And I hope you're enjoying the content, but if you wouldn't mind, just go ahead and, if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe down below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.